Om Sri Sai Ram. Prathama Vandana Gauri Nandana. Prathama Vandana Gauri Nandana. He Shivanandana Pahi Gajanana. He Shivanandana Pahi Gajanana. Prathama Vandana Gauri Nandana. Om Sri Sai Ram. We all know that Swami has given 4 steps, 4 stages from self-confidence to self-realization. Most of the youth today because of the ill effects of so-called modern education do not even know the definition of self-confidence. They sometimes attend some seminars, some classes, some talks where some, as Swami says, blind leading the blind. What is this self-confidence? The answer lies in the definition, lies in this word itself, self-confidence, confidence in the self. Self-confidence is nothing but confidence in the self. So simple. Swami has made it. Everything, all the spiritual misunderstandings, complications, confusions, that is the purpose of this avatar. Every avatar. He gives very simple, straightforward interpretation. For centuries, the so-called, what to say, they give different interpretations according to their own little knowledge, little experiences, little scholarships, bookish knowledge. But Swami is, the avatar is the one who will not describe the beauty of sunrise and sunset. He will not take you to the imagination world, to the dream world of imagining that sunrise and sunset. He has the power, the authority to give you the vision to experience sunlight and sunset yourself. He can touch the blind and make it see the world, the truth as it is. He will not elaborate. Simple. Self-confidence, Swami says, is confidence in the self. Now, obviously, we cannot have confidence in our body self because body is changing every moment. When we see our photograph of childhood or the time when we were born, nowadays they click the photograph as soon as the child is born. we will not even be able to identify ourselves with that photograph 20, 40, 60 years down the line. Because body is changing every moment. The cells, the tissues, we all know it scientifically. It is obvious, it is visible. And we are not the bodies, because body my body. What belongs to me cannot be me. Simple. Same thing. Mind is some mad monkey. How can we have confidence in some entity which itself is mad, a monkey, jumping from this desire to another desire, from this dream to another dream, from this want to another want? How can you trust? How can you have confidence in that monkey mind? So with the intelligence, so with the logic, the reasoning, because they also change. As different facts come forward from the so-called scientific world, the logical world, maybe 1 century, I believe, or 1 or 2 centuries, people, even scientists, used to believe that Earth is a flat. Nobody would accept that Earth is round. So the facts change. It is not that the truth changes. Our perception, our discoveries, they change. So we cannot even rely upon our so-called intelligence, because our intelligence, logic, reasoning is shaped by the modern education and the thesis, the PhDs. Every day it is changing. Not only changing, they are contradicting their previous, even the same scientist who has written some thesis on something will after some years say, no, what I wrote 5 years before is now invalid. We have seen it. It is an open secret. How can we have confidence in all these entities? How can we have confidence in our relationships, in our position of authority, in our bank balance, in our wealth? We all know. Wise people learn from others' experience. Half-wise people learn from their own experiences. But Swami says double-wise people refuse to learn. They refuse to learn. Whatever belongs to us cannot be us. Everything is passing cloud. So self-confidence means confidence in your truest, purest, highest, noblest self, your own divine self. That never changes. That is eternal, unconditional, absolute. You are that. Once we develop this confidence that I am not this body, this mind, this intelligence, this education, this degrees, this position of authority, this wealth, this bank balance, they belong to me. Today they may belong to me, tomorrow something may happen and they may go. Who knows? One small accident, what we call accident, but there are no accidents in His divine plan. He decides, He directs in every detail. And He has declared nothing can ever happen without my intent and will. Ever. And if we are His spark, if we are that, we got to have confidence. When we have confidence, we surrender our heads in front of a barber, Swami says. If we have this small common sense, why not? Even if we have not seen it. The very definition of faith is to believe in something which we have not seen. I have told that small story of person falling down from the mountain, catching hold of a hanging tree branch and latkofying in mid-air, and then shouting, screaming for help. Oh God, please help me, please. And the God responds. Because when we are in danger, our cry is genuine. We really want to come out of it. We really know that we are helpless. We really know that we cannot save ourselves at that point in time. That is the point. Man's extremity is God's opportunity. God responded. He said, come on, leave this. I will catch you. I will hold you. Don't worry. I will save you. The man looked around. He looked at the ground below. He found no one. And he shouted back, is there anyone else, please? Because he wanted to see before he can actually leave that branch. That is how our mind plays the game. Just imagine, even if he holds on to the branch, how long? How long the branch will be able to hold his weight? And if at all the branch is very strong to take his weight for eternity, assuming, how long his hand will be able to hold it? Few hours. Not beyond that. And we want to hold on to something which we know for sure is going to give up. Either you have to give up or that support has to give up. We know it. But yet, double-wise mind, the foolish mind, the stupid minds refuse to learn. If Prahlada was shown the four hands of Narayana, Lord Vishnu, whom he had implicit faith in, who could be greater devotee than Bhakta Prahlada? When the soldiers of his father took him to the mountain top and wanted to throw him down, push him, he simply chanted Lord's name. He did not beg God out of fear or out of anything. Oh God, now they are throwing me, I am your devotee, you have to save me, please Swami, please Swami. Nothing. He just kept chanting the name of Narayana as lovingly as was his every moment of his breathtaking. Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Narayana. There was no change in his tone, in his psychology. And God did not show him that, yes, come on child, don't worry, let them throw you, I will catch you. If that happens, imagine again logically, then everybody will go and just be there and come on, throw me, God is there. Oh God, please show me with your four hands. Then who would not jump? Then what is the credibility? What is the value of that, worth of that devotion? If you are shown in advance that God is there to catch you. Faith is to believe in something which you had not seen or even not experienced. What experience did Shabri have of Rama? Nothing. But she believed. That is called enlightened devotion, enlightened faith. Our faith, our devotion are all too late, if at all they are there. We want guarantees from God. Let God give a date when He is coming. Even when Swami was in physical form, people, oh, when is Swami coming to Puttaparthi? They used to ask me because many of my friends, they knew that I go to Whitefield Trai and all that. I would probably get some. Swami would laugh at it. He'll say, go and ask ladies. You have to love his uncertainty. That is the sign of true devotee. Love it. Not as helpless devotee. Helplessness is no devotion. No ways. God doesn't want his devotees to be helpless. Which parent would like his child to behave helpless or fearful? It is an insult to parent. If a child comes to us telling us, Father, I feel so fearful, so helpless. You have to prove that you will provide me everything. You have to prove that you will be with me all the time. You will protect me. I feel so helpless. Is it not insult to us? That means we are not able to provide that confidence to our own child that he should not fear anything, so long as when the child holds the little finger of his father and goes to any crowd, and if the crowd is so huge, or if there is anything, any danger ahead, even perceived danger, the child will just press the finger of the father and look up at father and smile. Hey, my father is there. That is the confidence of the child. His father may be old man, a weak person. He may not be capable of saving him from the danger which is coming. But the child has faith in father. That is true faith. That is true confidence. And that can come only when we know who we are, the true self. We know it at some level, though we have not had any vision of that. That is the first stage. Have confidence. Faith is to believe in something which we have not seen, and the reward of faith is to actually see what we believed in the first place. What a beautiful guarantee given by God. You start with that faith, that confidence, the Psalm 4 stages, from self-confidence to self-satisfaction to self-sacrifice to self-realization. The seed has to blossom into bud, the flower, the fruit. There are stages. We can't put a seed and expect the fruit next day. It is impractical, illogical, undesirable. Self-confidence is confidence in our true self. We might not have yet seen it, experienced it, yet that is called faith, faith in the unseen. At some level of our consciousness, we know, yes, it exists. There is a famous story of two scientists living in a hostel in US before partition. It's a true story, I believe. One person had implicit faith in God and he'd pray morning and evening. The other person, both were science students. Once he ridiculed him. He said, you are wasting 10 minutes every day morning, every day afternoon, every day evening, every day night, praying to some unseen, unverifiable entity. What if he does not exist? Don't you think that you have wasted 40 minutes of your life every day? He said, yes, I know this. But as I cannot prove the existence of that entity, God, what you call, what we all know, then you cannot also prove that he does not exist. He said, of course, yes, I cannot prove either way. So if he does not exist, then certainly I have wasted 40 minutes every day of my life praying to an entity which does not exist. But is it not also true that if, because chances are 50-50, even you accept that, if he exists, then you would have wasted your entire life not praying to him. We got to have that enlightened wisdom. Even our logic, our reasoning, everything has to be enlightened. And enlightenment can come only from light of God, from light of love. At least we should accept that love exists. Even if some so-called atheist does not believe in the existence of God, no one can deny the existence of love, the experience of love. Because without love you are not born. Without love of mother you cannot survive. Without love of father you cannot live in this world. Who has not experienced at least self-love? That love is the light of God. As sun and sun rays are inseparable, so also God is love, His love and His rays of His love are inseparable. God is love, love is God. So at least we should have faith, that confidence in love, that universal love. We may not have confidence in love of our parents or husband or wife or children. Again, wise people learn from the others' experience. We cry for those who would never care for us. And we care for those who would never cry for us. Instead of spending on our entire life, time, money, energy on that love, what we call love, the worldly love, the attachments, and we know for sure the end result of that. We all again have experienced it or seen the experiences of others. Why not have love for that universal self? Forget, suppose that some people are not comfortable with this word God or spirituality. One scientist has said, even if there were no God, it would have been necessary to invent one. God is our necessity. Our arrogance does not allow us to surrender to entity which we believe is distinct or distant from us or separate from us. That is another foolishness. God is our own real self. When we can believe in our body muscles that I am strong, when we can believe the intelligence, the mind, the emotions, in our wealth, in our position of authorities, we all know is temporary. Yet we believe in them. Why not believe in our highest, noblest and truest self? That is God. God is not separate, living in some heavens. If God is not there, then tell me, my dear brother, what else is there? God is love. Entire creation is suffused with love. Have confidence in the self means confidence in that universal love. That will enlighten you. That will give you so much of confidence. Then everything else becomes a passing cloud. The screen is unseen when we watch a movie. So long as the movie is going on, can anyone see the screen? It is unseen. But can anyone for that matter deny the existence of a screen? Little common sense. Just because we cannot see the screen, we cannot deny its existence. And the beauty of all this is the very movie in which we believe in and we cry and laugh and react to every scene going on that in movie is being played on the screen. Denying the existence of God is like wave denying the existence of ocean. It is as foolish, as ridiculous as that. And yet we want to indulge into that arrogance. Okay, manchide. At least we believe in love. Love is God. Have confidence in that universal love. And be enlightened. And once your buddhi, your reasoning, your mind gets enlightened, everything will become clear. Then you have confidence. We feel confident when there is light around us. If there is darkness, blackout, during any shutdown or any war or situation or anything, in darkness, in the most strong person will feel fearful. So, the light of love will enlighten our mind. Automatically, we will feel more confident because that light gives us awareness. And awareness is God. Prajnanam Brahma. Awareness is God. Then you feel so confident. And I'm telling you out of my own personal experience, my dear brothers and sisters. The day I saw Swami, I saw the light. I don't know, from that very moment, I fell in love with him, and that love has given such enlightenment within, such confidence. Gods in the heavens would envy that, because it has come from the source. And when the light comes from the source, it has its own beauty. Truth is beautiful. Satyam Shivam, truth is goodness. Sundaram, truth is beautiful. Let us have confidence in that truth. Self-confidence, confidence in the self. Next, we will move further. Jai Bolo Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai.